Imagine boarding a starship and then falling asleep, not for hours, not even days, but for decades. By the time you awaken, you're orbiting a distant alien world. Everyone on board has survived the journey without aging, without needing food, entertainment, or even space to walk. It sounds like the perfect solution to interstellar travel's human problem. This is the dream of hibernation, a concept pulled straight from science fiction, but increasingly being studied as a real possibility. In theory, putting the crew into a deep sleep, sometimes called suspended animation or stasis, could solve many problems at once. It eliminates boredom and psychological breakdown, drastically reduces life support requirements, and minimizes the food, water, and air a ship needs to carry. Most importantly, it protects the mind from decades of isolation and monotony. But in practice, we're still very far from making it safe. To keep humans in hibernation for years or decades, we'd need automated systems capable of monitoring their vital signs, delivering nutrition, removing waste, and detecting, even treating, medical emergencies. And these systems would need to run flawlessly for decades. No resets, no repairs, no second chances. What if something goes wrong with the life support system while everyone is asleep? Who wakes up to fix it? Exactly, no one. But let's assume we develop the technology. Let's assume the ship can monitor every heartbeat, every cellular shift, every subtle sign of distress. That still leaves one enormous challenge: the biology of hibernation itself. Cooling the human body below normal temperatures, therapeutic hypothermia, triggers a cascade of physiological changes. Blood thickens, organs slow down, circulation becomes unstable. The risk of blood clots, cardiac arrest, organ failure, and brain damage skyrockets. Even in modern hospitals, therapeutic hypothermia is only used in controlled, short-term situations, like after a cardiac arrest, and requires round-the-clock medical supervision. Now stretch that to 30 or 50 years, in deep space. We'd need to find a way to induce and maintain hibernation safely, perhaps by mimicking how some animals, like bears or Arctic squirrels, slow their metabolisms naturally. These creatures undergo seasonal torpor, reducing their heart rate and body temperature for months, surviving on stored fat with minimal damage. If we could replicate that, artificially trigger torpor in humans, we might unlock a new era of space travel. But there's another catch: waking up. Emerging from decades-long stasis might be just as dangerous as entering it. The human body would need careful rewarming, gradual metabolic stimulation, and perhaps weeks of rehabilitation to restore full function. Too fast, and the shock could kill. Too slow, and vital systems may not recover at all. Additionally, long-term muscle atrophy and bone density loss, already serious concerns on the International Space Station, would be amplified during hibernation. Without movement or gravity, astronauts may awaken to bodies that can no longer support their own weight. Some researchers propose combining hibernation chambers with rotating gravity habitats, nutritional muscle stimulants, or even neuromuscular electrotherapy. Tiny electrical impulses that mimic exercise while the body sleeps. But here's the wildest twist: hibernation may already be within reach. In recent experiments, scientists have induced short-term torpor in animals that don't naturally hibernate, like rats and pigs, using chemical triggers. There's even research into human trials for emergency stasis in trauma patients. The progress is slow but steady. NASA has funded multiple studies into torpor-based crew architecture, where astronauts sleep in 14-day cycles with brief waking intervals. According to models, this method could cut mission costs by over 50%, reduce spacecraft volume, and simplify psychological management. The dream? Entire crews sleeping through the void, awakening only at their destination, healthy, rested, and ready to explore. But ethically, the idea raises profound questions. Would we entrust our lives, our consciousness, to machines for years on end? If something goes wrong while we sleep, is it mercy or tragedy? And what would it feel like to close your eyes only to open them in another solar system decades later, with everything you knew long gone? That question is as emotional as it is scientific. Because in the end, hibernation is not just about biology or engineering. It's about time. Time saved, time lost, time skipped, time transformed. At infinity beyond, we believe the key to the stars may not be moving faster, but learning how to sleep through the void.